Hey y'all, I hope you all are doing well. Welcome back to my kitchen, or welcome if you are new. My name is Bethany, or Budget Bethany, and I like to share these What's for Dinners with y'all every single week in hopes to give y'all some meal ideas or some inspiration to cook at home for your family as well. So this week I'm not going to be sharing a whole lot of recipes. I'm just going to basically be sharing with y'all what I fed my family this past week. To kick off the week, we're going to be making some Philly cheesesteak sandwiches. So to start with, I'm just cutting up a bell pepper and some onion.
Cause I've been waiting here for someone like you. We go together like misery likes company, but we'll be getting there somehow.
Added those into my buttered or greased pan and let those cook down. Once they were cooked down, I removed them from the pan. And then going back into the same pan that I cooked my onions and peppers in, I just dumped in my whole package of carne asada steak meat. We're going to cook that up and it doesn't take very long, so while it's cooking I'm going to add in a few capfuls of lemon juice. Then you'll want to season up your steak, and I'm going to use this Weber Savory Steakhouse seasoning, but of course you could use whatever kind of steak seasoning that you prefer. And then I'm going to go in with some Morton seasoning. Then you'll just kind of let that meat cook up, and once it's cooked up, we're going to throw some cheese on there. So I'm using the white American cheese that you can find at Walmart. It's just great value cheese. Just throw it on there and kind of let that melt onto my steak. And then while that's melting, I'm going to take my air fryer and I'm going to pop in one of these sub roll buns. It kind of looks like a hot dog bun, but it's actually a sub roll. You could cut it in half if you wanted to, but I feel like it works better if you leave it like one side together. That way your meat will stay in there. So I just popped that in my air fryer for just a few minutes, just let it get good and toasted up, and then I topped it with my meat, my cheese, and my peppers and onion, and that was dinner on this night. Moving into the next night is one of my grandma's favorite dinners that she used to cook for me when I was at home, and it's just garlic buttered smothered pork chops. So all you have to do is add some garlic butter into your pan, and I found this at Walmart. It's in like where the deli section is with the breads and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, you just put that into your pan and let that butter melt down. While that butter's melting, you're going to season up your pork chops, and I always tell y'all to season it however you like, but I'm going to use some Morton seasoning and some onion powder.
Gonna stay in this moment, gonna lay here on the grass. I don't need to feel lonely.
Once your meat is good and seasoned up, you'll just simply place it into your pan where your butter is at and let that cook up on both sides.
And I don't mind being gone on adventures for a while. No, no. 'Cause the best thing
And here's how they should look once they're done. I do like for mine to have a little bit of that crispy blackness on there. That's my favorite part. And then for sides, I'm just going to open up 2 cans of Italian green beans and make some pasta chicken flavored sides. And that's going to be our sides with our pork chops. It's an easy dinner. It's a weeknight dinner. When I get off work, it took me no time to make it, maybe 30-35 minutes, and dinner was served. So I highly recommend this dinner, y'all. And like I said, it's one of my childhood favorites. Alright, so moving along, if you've been here for a while, then you know my husband is a hunter, so we have some fresh deer meat right here. It's deer cube steak, and we're just going to fry that up basically like you would do normal cube steak. I'm just going to season it up, add some flour onto it, and drop it into my oil. Back here I have a pot of rice boiling because we're going to have cube steak, rice, and gravy, and I will also show y'all how to make homemade gravy. So right here, basically, y'all can see what I'm doing. I'm just seasoning up my deer meat, and then I'm going to flour and drop it into my hot skillet with my grease.
places where the beauty never ends. Different cities, friendly faces.
And then you just let that fry up, and I do flip it about halfway through and let it fry on both sides. But once my cube steak is through frying, I'm going to remove some of the oil from the pan with the trimmings because you want that flavor in there. I'm going to heat it up into a separate pan, or you could just drain the grease out of the pan you fried your cube steak in, whichever you prefer, but I prefer this way. So I just took some of that grease that I fried my cube steak in and some of the trimmings, and then I added it into my skillet. Then I added in a little bit of flour, and I'm just going to kind of make a roux out of that flour and that grease. Once it comes to the consistency that I like, I'm going to add a packet of brown gravy. That just gives it the more brown flavor because a lot of the times I can't get it as brown as I prefer my gravy, so I always add in 1 packet of brown gravy. Once it becomes the consistency that I'm looking for, I'm going to add in some water. And y'all, I don't know exact measurements, I just kind of wing it and stir, mix, add stuff until it looks how I know that it's supposed to look. So right here you see me whisking out all the flour and the lumps, and then I have gravy. So here's how I make my homemade gravy. I'm sure there's several other ways you can make it, and I also like to add a little bit of salt and pepper into mine. That just gives it a little bit more flavor. Of course, you don't have to do that, but that's just what I do. But like I said, this is how I make my homemade gravy, but to each their own. And if you do try it, please let me know what you think about it.
You look at me like I'm crazy when I shut my feelings out. You look at me like I'm different. Still you stay cause you feel something real. Get so lost in my moment.
So I usually let my rice simmer while I'm frying my cube steak and making the gravy. So now that the rice is done, it's going to be time to plate up the plates. And here's how I plate mine up. I always like to put a little bit of gravy on my cube steak as well as on my rice. But y'all, if you've never tried your cube steak, you don't know what you're missing. So moving into the final dinner for this week, my husband actually stepped up and wanted to help me out, but y'all, he doesn't really know what he's doing, so please overlook the footage view right now because he didn't know that how to film really well. But anyway, he's making deer vegetable soup. So all you have to have is some ground deer meat, or you can use like regular ground beef, but we're making deer vegetable soup, so we got ground deer in ours. So you just brown that up with some onion, and then once it's brown, you remove it from the pan. You're going to add in some water with your potatoes. Bring your potatoes to a boil once they're done. Then you'll start adding in all your other veggies, and he just added in some corn, sweet peas, green beans. Some people like to add lima beans, but he did not add that to ours. And then right here he's making some homemade peanut butter and jelly for peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. So basically all he did was mix some peanut butter and some jelly and a little bit of this peach syrup. It just gives it a little bit of a peach flavor with that grape jelly, but you don't have to do that. You could just mix peanut butter and jelly. Then we put that on 2 slices of bread, and that was dinner for that night. I was so thankful that he wanted to help me out. After all, it's the thought that counts, right? But I wanted to say thank you all so much for being here today. I hope you all enjoyed today's What's for Dinner. If you did, as always, don't forget to leave me a thumbs up before you leave, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye, y'all.
Yeah, we're loving the way they